Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 1 through chapter 20, verse 9. The priest, the Levites, all the tribe of Levi, have no part nor inheritance with Yisrael. They are to eat the offerings of Yahuweh made by fire and his inheritance. But among his brothers, Levi has no inheritance. Yahuweh is his inheritance as he has spoken to him. And this is the priest's right from the people, from those who slaughter a slaughtering, whether it is bull or sheep, they shall give to the priest the shoulder and the two cheeks and the stomach, the first fruits of your grain and your new wine and your oil, and the first of the fleece of your sheep you give to him. For Yahweh your Elohim has chosen him out of all your tribes to stand to serve in the name of Yahweh, him and his sons forever. And when the Levite comes from one of your gates, from where he has sojourned among all Yisrael, and shall come with all the desire of his being to the place which Yahweh chooses, then he shall serve in the name of Yahweh his Elohim, like all his brothers the Levites, who are standing there before Yahweh. They are to have portion for portion to eat, besides what comes from the sale of his inheritance. When you come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim has given you, do not learn to do according to the abominations of those nations. Let no one be found among you who makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or one who practices divination, or a user of magic, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or one who conjures spells, or a medium, or a spiritist, or one who calls up the dead. For whoever does these is an abomination to Yahweh, and because of these abominations, Yahweh your Elohim drives them out from before you. Be perfect before Yahweh your Elohim, for these nations whom you are possessing do listen to those using magic and to diviners. But as for you, Yahweh your Elohim has not appointed such for you. Yahweh your Elohim shall raise up for you a prophet like me from your midst, from your brothers. Listen to him according to all you asked of Yahweh your Elohim in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, Let me not hear again the voice of Yahweh my Elohim, nor let me see this great fire any more, lest I die. And Yahweh said to me, What they have spoken is good. I shall raise up for them a prophet like you out of the midst of their brothers, and I shall put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. And it shall be, the man who does not listen to my words which he speaks in my name, I require it of him. But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name which I have not commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of other mighty ones, even that prophet shall die. And when you say in your heart, How do we know the word which Yahweh has not spoken? When the prophet speaks in the name of Yahweh, and the word is not, or comes not, that is the word which Yahweh has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Do not be afraid of him. When Yahweh your Elohim cuts off the nations whose land Yahweh your Elohim is giving you, and you dispossess them and dwell in their cities and in their houses, separate 3 cities for yourself in the midst of your land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess. Prepare a way for yourself and divide into 3 parts the border of your land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to inherit, that any manslayer shall flee there. And this matter of the manslayer who flees there and lives. He who strikes his neighbor unknowingly, not having hated him in time past, even he goes to the forest with his neighbor to cut timber, and his hand swings a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slips from the handle, and strikes his neighbor so that he dies. Let him flee to one of these cities and live, lest the revenger of blood, while his displeasure is hot, pursue the manslayer and overtake him, because the way is long, and shall strike his being, though he was not worthy of death, since he had not hated him before. Therefore I am commanding you, saying, Separate 3 cities for yourself. And if Yahweh your Elohim enlarges your border, as he swore to your fathers, and has given you the land which he promised to give your fathers, when you guard all this command to do it, which I am commanding you today, to love Yahweh your Elohim, and to walk in his ways all the days, then you shall add 3 more cities for yourself besides these 3, so that innocent blood is not shed in the midst of your land, which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance, or blood guilt shall be upon you. But when anyone hates his neighbor, and shall lie in wait for him, and rise against him, and strike his being so that he dies, then he shall flee to one of these cities, and the elders of his city shall send and bring him from there, and give him into the hand of the revenger of blood, and he shall die. Your eyes shall not pardon him, but you shall purge the blood of innocent blood from Israel, so that it might be well with you. Do not remove your neighbor's boundary, which those in the past have set, in your inheritance which you inherit in the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess. One witness does not rise up against a man concerning any crookedness or any sin that he commits. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, a matter is established. When a malicious witness rises up against any man to accuse him of turning aside, then both men who have the dispute shall stand before Yahweh, before the priest and the judges who serve in those days. And the judges shall diligently search and see if the witness is a false witness, who has falsely accused his brother. Then you shall do to him as he thought to have done to his brother. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. And let the rest hear and fear, and never again do this evil matter in your midst. And let your eye not pardon, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. When you go out to battle against your enemies, and shall see horses and chariots and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them, for Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you up from the land of Mitzrayim, is with you. And it shall be, when you draw near to the battle, that the priest shall come and speak to the people and say to them, Hear, O Yisrael, you are drawing near today to battle with your enemies. Do not let your heart faint, nor do not fear or tremble or be afraid before them. For Yahweh your Elohim is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. And the officers shall speak to the people, saying, Who is the man who has built a new house, and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. And who is the man who has planted a vineyard and has not begun to use it? Let him also go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man should begin to use it. And who is the man who is engaged to a woman and has not taken her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further to the people, and shall say, Who is the man who is afraid and tender of heart? Let him go and return to his house, lest the heart of his brothers faint like his heart. And it shall be, when the officers have finished speaking to the people, that they shall appoint commanders of the divisions to lead the people.